ID. So you 5 at the door. All right. All right, you're good. You go inside.
Oh, what good morning, everyone. I have the homie Ben from Scarlet Street. This is I'm so excited for this record, my dog. This is like I've got a taste of it. Well, I've gotten the full chunk bite out of the whole fucking thing. I've seen the scrolls, man. It's so good.
That's really freaking kind of you, man. We kind of took a chance here, and I don't know what people expected or if they expected anything from us. I don't even know if people know about us, but the fact that anybody cares is pretty cool.
I think that there's something as someone who like plays Daily Plaza like all the time.
Really?
I love that song. I love that song so much. And I watched the video like on my free time. Like it's wow. Like I am a Scarlet Street fan.
Wow.
And that's not just because like, I was introduced to y'all because of Jordan from We're Trying.
Right.
And I love the whole lineup. And then when I think the first thing about that your LP1 is just that your use of that font feels so what's funny in that and the water splash is just such a cool picture. But it what you're doing in the new record is kind of the opposite of what you were showing in the first record. Is there was like a corporate Memphis, like not corporate Memphis, but like a corporate styling font on the first record that is the antithesis of what you're showing in this new record.
Yeah. So first and foremost, I think if anybody likes Glassjaw, that's like the whole vibe of that. Like, I just want to. Glassjaw is like a fashion brand that happens to make post-hardcore, and that's my favorite thing about them. And their vibe. They used to have a website which was amazing. I think it had 12 pages of just merch. And their like graphic design I was obsessed with. I still am to this day. And I was like, it was like that meets and this is funny because I've never listened to this album. I only know the album cover. But what's the first Bring Me the Horizon album? I don't know or care.
As I'm such a fucking piece of shit. I've never listened to Bring Me the Horizon.
Me neither. I literally have never listened to them. But that first album cover is really cool. So I was like, that's a cool design, but it needs a good photo. And my wife actually snagged that photo in Chicago, just off of Lakeshore Drive. I'm sure everybody's familiar with that if they've been to Chicago.
It's so cool to know that like you guys captured that. It's what a cool water shot. It's so insane.
The guy was just walking by completely undisturbed by everything around him, and we snagged that photo, and we were.
Rest is kind of fucking history.
Yeah.
So this next record. All right. Let's fill in some blanks here. In between LP1 and LP2, No Alternative. What were the things you wanted to accomplish in LP1? And the things that you wanted to tie in between LP1 and LP2? What was it like? Touring on LP1. What was like? Let's fill in the blank here.
So I think when we were driving back, because we've recorded both these albums with Gary Cioni out in Sound Acres, which I happened to be not on purpose, happened to be wearing a shirt, but so we when we recorded LP1, I think even on the drive home, we were like, here's the 50 things we do differently. We would do this, we would make more that, and I think by the time we were even doing like our album release show, we had already started like writing song, which that was back in February of 2023. We had already like had probably 3 or 4 songs that were like, this is going to be the vibe of the next album. I think we had a lot of fun writing and making LP1, but with everything that's kind of going on all the time, I mean, like, headlines are constantly dominating every. I mean, I live in a city, and every day I have we have people coming in. I mean, the vice president lives like a mile away from my house. We're constantly bombarded with like political posturing on like what it is to be American and all of that type of horrid shit every day. So to write such an introverted like album about, you know, my personal life just did not make sense again. It's just, that's not what's dominating my everyday life anymore. I think I started realizing like I'm not a piece of shit. It's the people in power are kind of pieces of shit. That's like,
I think that there's a kind of a through line with a lot of records that LP1 is usually about you, and then LP2 is about everything else or a story that you want to tell. So like I think that you've turned like the eye away from yourself and facing it towards like this. There's no way to describe the thing that's happening in the United States right now without just saying like the thing that's happening right now.
Yeah. I mean, like literally a tyrannical government is happening. And it's weird because, you know, like when you look back on history, especially, you know, this isn't the first time, and unfortunately it won't be the last time this happens. But at the same time, it seems to have like dominated the narrative when it was happening in other countries. Here we're still like, but what's going to be the next summer hit? And I think that's kind of the intersection where there's a, dare I say, a story to be told off of this whole fucking situation. But like, why is nobody giving a fuck? Like, it's so weird. Like the fact that we have to beg people to care is insane to me. And I think
it's rough.
Yeah, I think that's been in. I feel like that's been a game of 3D chess that the powers that be have kind of been aiming for too. Of like, oh, we got this cool little device called social media that we can just numb the masses with too. Like, win-win. And I think I don't think it's a coincidence. I think we really kind of also do this to ourselves. But that's a whole, you know, that's the human condition, isn't it? We really
I think that there's something about when it comes to music is always political forever. So I think that having it be inherently, let's do a big fucking and this isn't just a political record. This is just like, I would say your record is just kind of about like how everything has turned on itself and how everything is upside down right now. The stories that we could tell are don't have to be personal. They could just be like about fucking, you know, the evils that are happening. Do you think that did you think you got it all out in this record? Like, I think that this record that you did is like, you've been like, this record has like poignant, nuanced stuff. And then it has like you actually calling it all the fuck out. Like I think that you kind of hit like the whole totem pole of like what you can do, which is be completely honest and let the audience draw their own narrative all at the same time.
Yeah, that's a question I've asked myself a few times is are we done? Like, was this it? Was this the one weird left-hand turn on the, you know, career of Scarlet Street, or is this Scarlet Street now? I don't know. Right now, no, I don't think so, because it's still going on. And how can you switch gears from like, let's talk about something important and then go back to what? I don't
Yeah, I mean,
come down from that.
There's kind of it's also about deciding what the band is, right? It's kind of weird to have these discussions with this immovable inanimate object, talking to the spirit of a thing. And I think that there's a lot of kind of like when you look at a car and you see a face, it's like the moment where there's this kind of thing where like you start seeing this thing and other things, and where you may have this decision where like, actually, no, I don't want to do this again. I want to talk about this thing that I'm going through. I think that it won't, whatever happens for whatever you're doing after this won't be up to you. And I feel like I think there's a will. I think that is kind of just the general case for music making. Is when you open yourself up to it, whatever happens just suddenly starts happening.
Yeah, that's pretty dead on, because that's kind of what happened with this. I don't think, I mean, like the music I listen to isn't usually kind of overtly, I don't know if political is the right term for that, but like, you know, I definitely listen to a lot of post-hardcore and hardcore, which, I mean, it's bringing into the world is you know, anger at a system. But I mean,
sure.
a lot of what I drew on was not inherently that. I mean, it may have pointed to systems that have that kind of flaw, but to your point, yeah, I don't. When we were driving home from New Jersey back in 2021 after recording the first album, I don't think a single one of us was like, okay, so we got to write this very, you know, external narrative on, you know, everything bad going on in the world, and talk about the juxtaposition of, you know, media saturate. That is not what, I mean, I don't even think by the time we were getting ready to go in the studio, we knew that's what it was going to be. And it just kind of, you very much to go with the flow at a certain point. And I think if you don't fight whatever's coming out, you might come up with something that's just organically good.
Yeah, there's something
it's not going to work.
I think that, like, you know, there's a lot of like swimming up current is never the good idea. It's always to just relax your body and go with it. And let the river take you in a way. So it's cool to see that this is what happens when you let the river take you, because the record is fantastic. There's some really good dark shit happening here, and then there's you play with a lot of really cool music theory stuff, a lot of cool half steps and transitions into minor chords. I would say this is a really minor chord heavy record, whereas LP1 I would say is a little bit more of a major chord record. It's almost closer to a punk record where it's like that kind of happy hardcore, or at least that happy emo stuff. Where this is like, I don't like this. I feel like I want to make sure that I say this, that Jesse Lacey is a piece of shit, but this is kind of your devil and God. Like, in a way, like this is the darker thing. This is, I think that you slowed down a lot for this record, which happened on that record. I feel like that the Deja and Time to Devil and God, like, like, you know, through line there is a real thing. Is it kind of crazy that is that like, also like, I think you kind of either are trying to emulate Homie's voice. How many times have people they told you that you sound like Jesse Lacey as well?
Yeah, my when I showed my wife at first, she was like, "You're gonna get sued." Yeah. It's not too crazy, I don't think. I mean,
you're filling a space where it's like, you listen, you don't even have to listen to them anymore. You can just listen to Scarlet Street. You see, like this is great. You're not being a piece of shit. You're doing great songs. I would say this is great, fantastic. Just everyone listen to Scarlet Street now. You don't even have to listen to Brand New.
There we go. That's the selling point, because marketing is half the battle, right? I mean, there we
Yeah,
go.
Marquez after look, we got you a nice platform here. You're here to replace a shittier band.
I mean, it's no coincidence. It's not just them. I mean, every band I've listened to has been a Long Island post-hardcore band. I mean, that's
so funny.
We recorded it with Gary Cioni from Crime in Stereo. I mean, if you listen to Crime in Stereo, a lot of comparisons can be drawn between them and Brand New, but like, Silent Majority, Glassjaw. I cannot speak enough about how much Glassjaw has influenced this.
Is it so?
Thursday,
is Glassjaw is Glassjaw like the one for this record specifically, or would you say there's a through line for both records that you've done as a Glassjaw kind of?
I don't think there's a hint of Glassjaw on the last album. Not one bit. I've loved them for a while, but fun fact, when for the first album, when we were looking at like where to record, one of our few friends we got in the area, Knavery, great band from Dayton, Ohio, and
great band.
Yeah. And in Arlen Gun Club had both finished recording with Gary. Didn't know anything about the dude. So I just like sent him an email, and within like 1 hour, he's like, "Hey, do you want to get on the phone and talk?" And, about like possibly recording. I was like, "Sure." And I did like a quick Google search on him, and I found out he was in Crime in Stereo. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." So yeah, that was a big one. But yeah, like, apparently we just want to be a New Jersey, Long Island post-hardcore band, so it makes sense to kind of work. Yeah, Brett Romness is who mastered this, also in Crime in Stereo, Movie Life, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes a lot of sense that there's comparisons.
Do you like having people that were involved in that thing having a touch on your record? Does it feel cool to be part of like a legacy in that way?
In a way, yes. I never want to copy anything, because I don't know who does, that's
yeah, no, duh.
But I think I feel like that's a whole era nobody wants to talk about because of what it's become in retrospect. It's kind of like we'll make two comparisons at the same time. It's like Greta Van Fleet. I'm sure they get pissed off when they are told they sound like Led Zeppelin or whatever, but like,
sure,
they do. But at the same time, I mean, like, Led Zeppelin has a cringe to them because of what we know about them now. So totally. Nobody's constantly talking about Led Zeppelin unless, I mean, I'm sure people are, but they're like boomers. Like, it's kind of boring. But I do think we've got like this amazing era of music, both known and unknown, from a very specific geographic region, and to work with the people who were in that, came out the other side unscathed, and untarnished, and it still be underrated is like a weird situation. And like, to kind of have their blessing or their touch in this is astounding to me. Like, I don't know, it's kind of hitting me now as I'm talking about it, that it's like, this is who's involved. But it just,
there's something really cool there. There's something that you get to kind of like, it's like the way I see it in my head, I always see things a little D&D-esque, where it's like you're, walking in the halls of the people that you've always, like, you get to see the statues of them as you're walking by them in the hall of Long Island emo dumb or Long Island hardcore dumb. So to like have, again, that blessing, the hand on your shoulder as you were working on this stuff, that we're inspired with them, the Ouroboros of it all does kind of fucking feel crazy, right?
Yeah, it is weird. it's felt like something. I mean, we're here in the Midwest. I live in Cincy. It feels like an inaccessible other world that exists out there. So the fact that I've kind of been let in is bizarre. But at the same time, I want more of it. Let me.
I love that.
Let me talk to Jeff Rickley, please.
You seem kind of like a person that is on the history side of the type of music that you listen to. Like as a person that is like, I do that with like movies where I'm like, oh, that's the director of this. Oh, he did this. Oh, I remember what his first one. Oh, he also worked with these people. Like, do you find yourself doing like being a Wikipedia for the things that you like?
Oh yeah, and it's weirdly vintage Apple computers.
Shut the fuck up! No,
yeah, that's like
so sick.
That's like my obsession at the moment. And anybody who else is into it has probably seen like down to the point where it's like, oh, that typeface was used between 1987 and 1993, kind of stuff like that. But I do a lot of that stuff, not just with Apple computers, but like.
Well, you did it with a Corolla online with me. I was like talking about. I was like, oh yeah, no, I'm pretty sure that's a 95. I remember it looking like that when I had one. You were like, nope, look at the frame. look at that frame. That's not it.
I've grown up with Corollas, man. I used to be very into cars, and I guess I still kind of am. It's hard to be into something that you can't afford, but It's the same with
like growing up in middle school and high school. I only had like a Nintendo 64. I didn't have access to the other stuff to like know what those games were. But growing up as like a guy in the early 2000s and late 90s, it was important to know that stuff in like with friend groups. And because I didn't have access to that, I would have to do research. And doing research as like a 10-year-old.
Yeah.
And like, so I would go, when my parents would go grocery shopping, I would go with them and I would just go right to the magazine section, RIP magazine sections. But like, I like RIP, like video game magazines. Cause I would just sit there and I would have like a half hour, 45 minutes to read as much as I could about every game. I couldn't just like go online and look up this shit. I had to like go to my library, which was the grocery store magazine aisle, and learn all that stuff. So yes, you do have to like, because you can't afford it, that's why you fill the space with as much information as you fucking can.
It means a lot to you if you don't have it, and the people who do have it, it doesn't mean much to them. So I get it. Yeah.
It's like it's you are replacing not having it with knowing everything about it.
It's in a way, if you know everything about something, it's almost like you've got it in your hands, even if you don't. Yeah.
Exactly. So I like that you've gone from like hyper focus to hyper focus, and Apple early as fucking vintage Apple computers. What do you think was the draw there? Where did you find the gravity to get into that?
I don't know. That one just snuck up on me. Dude, it's weirdly, I was like, we're gonna go on a tangent about this, but
oh please,
it's I used to hate Macs so much. I had like a Vista was the first I'm gonna make you feel old. Vista was the first operating system I ever had.
Incredible.
And I liked that, and then I moved to a school that required Apple, like it was all Apple, and I hated it so much. And then I went to a college that was also all Apple, and I had to buy one. And it was like I thought it was going to be like the worst day of my life. And it turned out being pretty cool. And then weirdly, I work in IT. And IT people will tell you they hate Apple all day long. I'm here to tell you those people are morons. It's the greatest thing ever.
There's this thing about Macs that are just, they're here to, actually the third line, I'm going to bring it back even to this record.
Good.
There is something that maybe the Mac's thought process and the way that they wanted to design and do UI and all of these things that were a simplified version of itself, right? We're talking in the beginning of like app world, where everything is moved into looking like, specifically on their branding, everything is the squares, apps, everything else. And it was the beginning of this. And it took to like Windows having to try and copy that. Everyone is trying to do this thing again. And then there were too many things. And so then everything, the marketing was, oh, here's a billion apps, and then here's apps that use other apps. And there was a consolidation. The consolidation is removing of things to do on the internet and online and things like that. And the removal of that and the lack of things to do is all the things that your record is talking about, where everything is like, we are just getting less and less and less and less things to do. They're taking more away from us. And it is getting to the point where now AI will do it all. And so instead of a world where the internet that there was like a billion things to do on the internet, there's like nothing to do on the internet compared to like 2008. Like that is the death of the internet will be studied. And it all started because of the phone. And it all started because of Apple and Mac doing this thing. Like I will never forget a website that I used to be obsessed with because it felt like I feel like everyone who used this website was like interesting. And it was called Found, but it was like 7 Fs and then OUND. And it was like, you would just click search and it would just take you to a random page on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
And that was it. And that's where the internet used to be cool, where there was just stuff to do like that. Yeah. And no one's doing that kind of like that kind of thing on the internet anymore.
I think a good way to sum that up is we're trying to get people to be more like computers than computers to be more like people. And that was, I mean, there's this thing back in the day called the semantic web, where the idea was you make websites work for people, and any more, what do we get on the internet for anyway? First off, we have to do it because we have to, right? Or we have to do our daily ritual of talking to other people, which is crazy because we used to do it outside and we didn't have any problems with that. But I guess we tried to find a problem that needed a solution. Yeah. But
I get it. I find it really annoying that the things that you're allowed to do on the internet is just like, it's just every form of reading. However, okay, so I get to read online and I get to watch online and write online. I feel like everything is in those 3 categories. And like, that's kind of it. There's no, like, back in early internet, there was so much other like searching. It felt like you were like scouring. There was like things to do in that way that you can't do anymore.
Yeah, I think back in the day it was, okay, I have this thing, but I don't know what to do with it. And now it's, I need to do these things, and I guess I'll use this thing to do it.
100%. Like, I work in, literally, you and I are talking like on our lunch breaks, which I just think is really, really funny, like in itself, right? Like I work for a company called Descript. We're using Descript stuff right now because I use it for testing. I did this podcast to help myself and my job as well. But there's AI tools. We are an AI content generation company that also is a browser-based editor. Like, it's not, do I feel like I work for the enemy? Yeah, I do. But it's a job. I'm good at this shit, whatever. But like, do you find that like working in all these things that in it, like you thinking about the internet, thinking about all these things, didn't just help fuel writing this record?
I think in retrospect, yeah. Because I work at help desk, right? So essentially anytime somebody's got an issue, they call in, and subconsciously, probably over time, it was just kind of like people hammering away like, well, I need this to work. And it's just like, you need technology. Like it almost kind of fueled this like, man, like, and it's silly and it's so cliche to be like, oh, it's an addiction to technology. I mean, we've been, bemoaning that for 60 plus years. It's tired, but like that at least started a tangent that I think then I was like, okay, well, what do you need this? I can't get on the internet. Oh, what do you need to do? Like, what's wrong? Oh, well, I can't load my Facebook pages, and it's like, dude, like you can live without Facebook for like 5 hours. That's okay. Like
Yeah.
and before I knew it, I was like reading like Noam Chomsky and, all sorts of crazy, different books and nonfiction articles about like what this shit is doing to us as a society, as individuals, and really bummed me out. And I just, again, it's like it's really weird. And I mean, both you and I are guilty of this, of getting online and using these tools that we all hate to then continue its use and prevalence.
It sucks. The Ouroboros of like having to do it. And you talk about that a lot on the record, where it's just like the stuff that you have to do. Like in corporate Memphis by itself, like it is like literally the opposite of a love letter to the whole fucking thing. Like it's not a hate letter. It's like it's a Molotov cocktail to like the concept of having to go online and having to promote yourself and beg. And like, there's this, that's something that I think that I've, over the last few months, I've kind of zoomed out of like what it is to be in a band. And that is something that I talked about in this last episode, where it feels like, the thing that I never want to feel like I'm ever doing online is beg. Like that, I think I think that there's needs to be like an absolute revolution of how we like bands be online, because there is just something that like, there's so much desperation right now to be in a band, people that want to be in a fucking band and to do it and to do the whole thing. First things first, chances of you doing it, slim to fucking none, leaning into none. And the point of being in a band shouldn't be about having to make the posts and the TikToks and all that stuff to beg people to come to shows, to beg people to do this. And I think there needs to be a whole mental revolution of how we even talk about being in a band.
I agree. And I think to that point, it's you have to ask yourself, if you're in a band, what am I doing? What's the goal here? And I think that's probably good for anything you're doing, but are you here to spread your music, to connect with people, to spread an idea, to tell a story, or are you here to make your big number go up? Because if that's what you're doing, if you're doing the last part, then you're an influencer, you're not a musician. And that's
completely agree.
You're not doing, I mean, to sit there and focus on, okay, did we post on X platform and how are the likes going? Are the retweets doing good? That's not music. That's getting in the way of music. And I think people are aware of that now. I don't think that was quite so, we've had so many Twitter incidences now that like, I think we're starting to at least be critical of that, but for how long? I mean, how long is that going to last? I mean, we're gonna just do another train
like there's always a window. There's always a window of like the thing happening, right? Where like Blue Sky comes out, everyone's like, dude, we get to finally leave. We get to finally leave. Here's in the window, the door's open. We can go. And people did go, but you come back because the gravity of whatever is happening on Twitter or having to participate for some reason has its own gravity in it. And because the majority of people are still on Twitter or anywhere else, you still have to like do this thing. I don't know. There's whatever the German word for it is, like there's gotta be one for like why you stick around to this toxic ass thing. And it's hard. It's hard to get people to fucking get a mass of people to do one thing. I think that maybe, again, another theme of your record, which is just ridiculous. I feel like that, and it's why I love your record so much, because everything that's happening right now, and like if I catch myself talking about it, I can lead it back to the record. I feel like you touched on everything you like. At least you've touched on all the stuff that I end up always talking about with other people, that I end up thinking about the record. That's how I know it's good, for me at least.
That's awesome. I think there is like a whole aspect of life that isn't being talked about in music, and that's pretty much so why we felt like we needed to do this. Because I mean, you get to a certain point where it's like, as a band, what are we do we need to do something? Do we need to tour? Do we even need to post about stuff? Do we need to make another record? I mean, a lot of things in music are, you do it because other people have or are doing it, and sometimes it's not entirely necessary to bring up the same point or write the same song about the same thing you have 5 times before. So I think I don't know, at a certain point when you're, or at least maybe that's just me, I was kind of feeling like I was a crazy person, because I'm like, am I the only person who's like really outraged about this? And I think I finally decided there's no way I can be the only person that's actually outraged about this shit. So let's, let's not just talk about it, let's scream about it. Let's be very vocally angry and not worry about the cringe or the I'm 12 and this is deep, unforeseen consequences. Because that was a huge battle, especially writing lyrics on this album. Was, are we being corny as hell?
I think that is some real fucking shit, dude, because like I think that like you can write riffs all day. And then with the moment that you have to like put pen to paper and make sure that like that either what you're saying is, I think that the aversion to cringe is real, and it's so hard to stay away from the cringe. You also have to be like pretty knowledgeable of like modernity, and know where everything is in pop culture, know where everything is in like the state of writing in itself. What is everyone else kind of singing about? Like back in the day, in the middle of I feel like talking about modern baseball is cringe, but I feel like I have to do it because of what they used to talk about. And they used to talk about Twitter, and they used to talk about phones, and they used to talk about like that was kind of like what people used to talk about in that style of music, where there was a place and time. Here I am. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm holding. Here you get to kind of be in the body of the person that's singing. Mom G is the same thing. Joyce Manor, all kind of saying it like that. Maybe that was a reflection of like this world of iPhones and relationships this is all this brand new thing that was in the last like 4 years. Now it's like, I'm not sure what that version of it is anymore. I feel like maybe I'm trying to think of like some like really, really good records that have come out that are going to like, what are those versions of that? And maybe Kerosene Heights' new record is going to be like this little stamp of approval of like what the modernity of like writing and music is at this point in time, where it's a lot of personal stuff, but there's still some really, really good, like, still just good lyrics, but still swearing, like, and like, that there's something really still important about that. Like, it's nice to know that, I don't think that listening to your record, like, just to be clear, there's nothing cringe on your record. Just want to make sure that you know this. But I think Excellent. That you've touched on the things that I think that in what modern writing is, you're doing it. So like you're not like hearkening back to an old style of writing. You are a part of the modernity of emo writers right now.
That's huge, because I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, emo is kind of a big deal. I feel like
it's so annoying. I think the concept, like, I don't want to say DIY emo anymore. I feel like I even have a hard time saying DIY anymore. I feel like the concept of DIY is getting cringe, and
it's taken on a weird life. And I think that's going back to like your question about like the Long Island post-hardcore thing. I think that's why I like it so much, is because to me that's emo, and what everybody else is talking about is college rock. Like I love, to be 1000% clear, I grew up and loved bands like Superchunk, Archers of Loaf, and like those types of bands. Like I weirdly think the DNA of a lot of what people are making now is closer to that than it is to what I would consider emo, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. I think that's really awesome.
Totally. It's like what people have grabbed onto, like, in 2004, calling My Chemical Romance emo, that was not emo. It was just like this, it was kind of just almost just punk rock, but with minor chord. That was it. This is the modern state of emo in itself is in fact not emo. It is straight up just like DIY music and people that learned how to tap a guitar before they learned chords. Like that's kind of it's so strange. Everyone can tap. I don't fucking get it.
Yeah, that is the weirdest thing. I don't know where everybody got that from.
I don't know. I think maybe it was from Girlfriends, or maybe it was from maybe it was from American football. I don't know, but everyone just decided just to learn how to do it before they wanted to learn. Going from A to A sharp to B minor, like doing those little music theory. No one's doing the music theory thing anymore. Everyone apparently just like pretends that it's just a piano on the keyboard or on the fretboard. It's crazy to me.
It's wild. So I actually don't know anything about music theory. Fun fact. Well,
that's so interesting because like you do some really cool stuff. Think about the song that you just wrote, or the song you just put out in Victory Speech. In the chorus, you do the minor, the dominant, the fifth, and then down to the fourth. Pretty classic. But then you do this really cool thing where you go the minor, the dominant, the fifth, and then the fifth sharp to go lean into that minor because it's the next note. It's the only time I've ever heard that pattern. And it's probably in a long set, but you did it in such a cool way. I really, really like it. But that is a music theory thing that you did. Like whether you know it, it's cool that you either like have heard songs that do it or you hit it on accident. It's cool music theory shit. It's great.
What's funny about that is, so the choruses I mostly wrote myself. The verses were written by Luke, who's he's like a virtuoso. Like he grew up listening to like Trout Mask Replica, like walked out of the womb listening to jazz and classical music. He's crazy. So he knows, like, he's literally known music theory since he was like a child. And so the fact that you're singing high praises about the part that I wrote is pretty remarkable, because
it's something rubbed off on you, man.
There, something about dominance and fifths and stuff. That's cool.
It's really cool to something that I was talking to Tom from Townies. Because homie doesn't know a lot of music theory as well. But the thing that we talk about is, or that I've talked to him about, was that there's things that we don't ever want to do when writing, which is like, there's like the famous four chord, like the minor, the minor, the fourth, the dominant, the fifth. Really, really, really classic. That's like in every song. It's every Hot Mulligan song is that. Yeah. I feel like I didn't hear that on this record. And if I did, you guys have done like such a cool job either masking it with like interesting half steps and going to the third instead. But there's Is there anything when you're writing that you are trying to do, or the things that you're trying not to do?
So here's what's fun is like I've always put precedence over like songs. Like I'm always more inspired by a song than I am a band or an album for the most part.
Sure.
There's exceptions to that, and I've got like a top 10 list of albums and blah blah blah. But like really like all I do, especially when writing on guitar, is I'll play like a little progression. And again, I'm just like this chord, like I'll just this chord, this chord, this chord. I don't know how does that work, but I'll put if I get the image of a place or a situation or a feeling, that's the goal. I don't think, to me, chords and progressions and music doesn't really serve a utilitarian purpose of like, okay, this has to do this because the next part does this, and it's a mathematical equation. That has never been a concern of mine. It's always, when I strum these 4 notes in a chord, it makes me feel like I'm behind the middle school I was growing up in, the town I grew up in, and my friends just left me behind here, and now I have to walk my bike that has like a broken chain back home. That's what a chord progression is to me, not a,
That's so great.
You know what I mean? Like,
what a sad story. What a sad story. But like, that is, I've never heard someone explain it like that. And I feel like that you've hit the heart of like how you write does make me feel those kinds of things. Again, like, not to like completely just like jerk off fucking Scarlet Street over and over again. I'm just fully obsessed with it. Someone's gonna do it. It's got to be me. And it's cool to know that that's how you write, and that it's mainly you're like. I feel like each section of your songs now are like paintings in order to certain degrees. And it's awesome. What a cool way to explain it.
Yeah, it's I kind of did the same with like the other, because everybody else in the band is pretty, classically trained to some degree, whether it was just like drumline or they took private lessons or whatever. I was given a guitar and like, go, make sure these $500 I just dropped and, doesn't amount to nothing kind of, so I went with it that way. And, I kind of like sat down and explained it like to the dudes, especially on this album, where I was just like, no, see that chord's fine and all. I mean, I get how that makes sense, but I don't feel anything when you play that chord. And I know this chord's technically wrong, but I feel this when we play that. And boy, were there some standoffs with Gary when we were there. So Corporate Memphis, fun fact, it took us 3 days to write that song. Well, finish recording that song, because me and him could not agree on how that song should have gone. And it sounded wholly different. Yeah, it's it's probably one of the simplest songs on the album. And
totally.
And it's funny because Gary, we're familiar with his like style enough that we played the chorus and he says, okay, so I love that chorus. That chorus guitar part is perfect, and we are going to make a whole new song with that, because that is my favorite thing you've ever written, and that's now my song, is what he said. He's like, pretty much so, we're gonna just, whatever you had in mind, no, that's not gonna work. This is the hit here. And we're like, okay, I was like, okay. And the next 3 days were me saying, Gary, I don't want to write a Weezer song. That's pretty much so what it came down to. So like me and him were so literally funny. At odds for 48 hours of, okay, well, this is going to be how it goes. And I'm just like, I don't feel anything, Gary. I don't feel anything when we do this. And eventually I just kind of came up with something. And then Luke created that like kind of haunting lead part over the top that's in the intro. And it's funny is they recorded that without kind of consulting me because I'm like the band dictator, right? So, and I like walk in the control room and it's finished. Like they recorded that part, and I was like, all right, changes how I feel about the song entirely. I'm cool with that. And
it's I think it's like some songs are like in the tumblers of a lock, where just one small change will either let the key in or keep the key out. And there's just these most small things that just like can completely change. I mean, maybe that's what it felt like to you, where it was just like, oh, now that this thing has happened, I've shifted ever so slightly, and now it works. Now I can see the vision here.
100%. That's exactly what happened. Which is funny because like my philosophy with making songs, especially, is like you got to start with that really good progression. And honestly, like there's been so many songs where I started writing it on bass because the bass progression. I have a very specific philosophy where I think like bass is essentially telling the user, this is what's happening. These are the notes that are being played. Drums tell them how intense it is. Lyrics kind of describe the story, and guitars are just kind of there to make it sound prettier. But they don't really serve a purpose of telling the listener this is the mood. They just embellish it a little bit more. So
yeah, I would say so. It's like it was like this is the bass is like the spine of the book, and like and I completely agree that like almost guitars are maybe even unnecessary. Like and maybe that is. I wonder if that's true on a writing aspect. If like you are writing songs on bass and it's just bass and drums. And then if you do bass, drums, and lyrics, and if the song is good just with that, maybe that would be like a good like production way of working on music. Where if those things good, if you mute the fucking guitars and you just got bass, drums, and vocals, and it's good, then it's kind of like the mixing secret of like you put everything in mono, and then if you can hear everything in mono, then you're good. Like there's a bunch of like goofy versions of that. It's cool to know that like I like that you have specific philosophies of music and presenting them in such a way that they are now reflected into 2 fucking LPs.
What's crazy is this was definitely the first album where all 4 of us. I joke about being the band dictator. It was kind of funny because they always like.
Considering like also the lyrical content.
Well, weirdly, like I think Gary said it really best. Like lyrics are like the least important, but also the most important part of the song for like every song. I agree actually, because people will tune those out all day long. But I mean, it's funny because those all 4 of us probably contributed more than the last album, which we were a 3-piece on the last album. It was just us. It was Luke wasn't in the band yet, and specifically with like this one, it was. I mean, there are songs that Luke wrote entirely himself, and I just was kind of like, well, what if like we do this chord here, and that was my contribution. But it's kind of wild. Like I've got that very specific philosophy, and I'm sure the other 2 are just kind of, Luke and Rob being, Rob the bassist, look at it, go like, I mean, cool, but like, I don't agree. They just, it's like kind of funny though. There's this weirdly unspoken thing where like, they always kind of turn to me and go like, what do you think? And I'm like, I don't, man, this is like, who decided I get the last? I guess I sing, so there's that.
Well, there's this kind of there's a car, and people have gravity of where they sit in the car. Like if people think that it's your band, then you end up being the driver's seat. Some people are good navigators. Some people are best to stay away from that stuff or just get told what to do. They're driven places. And so there is a gravity of where people end up being inside of the car. I as a musician, I get a little control freaky. I demo everything, and once there's an approval, I re-demo it again with like more stuff, and then I go, cool, I'm now gonna leave the car, and you guys write your own stuff, and then I'm gonna get back in. Like I have to leave in order to let them do like the rest of 95 to do whatever they want to do, and that's only fair to them because I can't like. As much as I love structure, and I'm juxtaposing, my riff with the thing that I'm trying to paint with words, and then you have to like let it go. And so to know that like that there's like, I think that the band Dictator thing is a lot more normal than which is I think it's just like a pretty classic thing where that's not beyond a threshold for like something that is weird for a band. There's usually a primary, and the primary is the one that is dealing with all the stuff when it comes to writing.
Yeah. That's, I don't know why it ended up being me because I know the least.
Yeah. Well, and would you consider that you write more songs, and like, were you the one that started everything? If there's more gravity in the weight of like how many steps you've taken in the band, like literally on a step count, I have more steps in this band than other people. And like, that's probably like, okay, cool. Well, I've moved the furthest.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. Cause I'm constantly, like, okay, hold up. Let me plug in real quick and just, here's something. Fuck it. Here we go. And before you know it, you've tuned the snare for 45 minutes, and then you
exactly
sound like 98% finished demo, and everybody's like, oh, okay, yeah, I love this, and you're like, okay, so can you guys just kind of play the same?
Yeah. So let's do this. What is the this record's going to come out what day?
October 24th.
All right, October 24th. From October 24th, 2025 to October 24th, 2026. A year cycle, this record cycle, not to get into like, there aren't any rules, but I want to ask what you want for the year, because this record talks about breaking all the rules. What are rules that you are going to try and follow? Again, these fake rules. What are these fake rules do you want to follow over the next year, and what rules do you not want to follow over the next year? And that goes with goals too.
Yeah, I think what I've already talked to, because I've been trying to like make this a more collaborative like marketing effort, and I hate marketing, but like I think everybody in music right now feels like, and again, it's a question of what are your goals as a band? Are your goals to get as many followers as possible? Are your goals to, spread your music as far as possible, or, make people feel seen? And one of the rules I refuse to follow is just kind of like doing marketing how other people are doing, getting our name out there the way everybody else is. Not because partially because I want us to be unique and stand out, but I also just think what we're making is the answer to people who are kind of feeling a malaise about what's going on. I personally think like the scene has kind of stagnated over the last 5 years, specifically over the last like 3, where we're all kind of, and I think it comes from a place of love, but we're all like really into the same stuff, and we want to show everybody else we're like, oh, I love this band. I want to sound like this band. Nothing wrong with that at all. But I think I want to make, and I think this is really the basis of like everything is, I want to make something, an alternative for people who feel like there is none. So to answer your question more directly, rules I will not follow is standard, marketing press kit bullshit. I think the time for that is over, because for one, I don't think it really resonates with what we're trying to say. In fact, it's actually
Mm-hmm.
antithetical to what we're trying to say. Of,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have a flattened culture because we have algorithms that reward sameness. So if it bites us in the ass, I don't really care. We did it kind of on our terms of we didn't do the song and dance shit and that TikTok and Instagram and X want us to do. So
Mm-hmm.
as far as rules we will follow, I don't know. I mean, try to get out on the road as much as possible because I think real world experiences connect people way, way better than, a hilarious viral tweet ever could. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that really like getting out on the road is something like we've asked ourselves like, why are we touring? Because I think that's, again, if you're in a band, you got to always ask, why are you doing this? Are you doing
Yes.
tours because you see other bands doing tours and you think that's like a step you have to do? Because not to segue too much, but I think as like smaller bands get in this trap of, well, we saw this band do this, like, let's also do this. What
You
works
have to
for
ego check.
yeah, well, you have to ego check, but you also have to understand that that band probably had a budget of $5 million. It worked for
Yeah,
them because they had a massive PR campaign and record label and everything behind them.
absolutely. 1,000,000%. And like there's the touring thing is like looking at, I think that you're nailing it. It's like you have to know what you want. If you want to do these things and you've confirmed and checked your shit and looked in the mirror and said, I do want to fucking tour. I want to do 20 dates next year. Then go for it. If you like have a self-approval for that shit, absolutely.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
it can't be based on, it has to be based on your thing and your thing alone. You should never go on the road because Kerosene Heights is doing 90 days this year.
Yeah,
Like you should be like, I want to go on the road because I have never been to fucking Portland. I want to go on the road because I've always wanted to play this one place. Like you could have like these goals, but it should never be because of what someone else is doing.
yeah. I mean, obviously, comparison in the music scene it'll drive you fucking insane because
Yeah, once and it'll kill you.
you'll find bands in no matter who hears this. I guarantee you, there's bands who are doing the same thing. You'll compare yourself to bands that are massive or getting a bunch of buzz and go, why the fuck are they getting popular?
Totally.
And it's a completely innocent thing, but you gotta stop worrying about that. And I think
Because this shit's not up to you, and it kind of wasn't even
it
up to
really
them
isn't.
either.
Exactly. I don't think there's any, and that's exactly what corporate Memphis is about, as well as, the
Mm-hmm.
bullshit marketing is like, sometimes people just have money and they can really throw it around
Yeah,
too. And it's not
and
even
like
their fault.
someone, and it's like someone has when I always kind of see it in my head where there's like this a new band is thrown across somebody's desk and they just roll die and it landed on the right number that they were looking
Yeah.
for. And they're like, okay, cool. This band gets to go. They win the lottery for the next year. We're going to push
Yeah.
that. Brooklyn Vegan's going to take them. We're going to do this and this and this and this. And then we'll see how that happens. If they succeed at that, they get a chance of 2 rolls to see if they get to score high again, and then that's just how it happens. It's just I feel like it's straight up fucking lottery. Do bands put in work, and does that work? I do think that there's a grind that will work. It is like successful bands. Look at Ogbert the Nerd. Ogbert the Nerd actually grinding it to get to where they are right now. To the detriment of Madison. Like Madison
Yeah.
has is 100% dealt with fucking everything and is carrying everything on his back, on their back, and it is 100% proof that grinding can do it. And also putting out good music. It requires you have to put out everything. You have to grind. You have to put out good music. You have to give the stage presence. You have to have good art. You have to be a good fucking person. Like, you have to score well in all those things in order to have the grind work. If you're shitty people and you're grinding, it's probably not going to work. It might, but you just have to score high enough with the other stuff. But yes, there is a whole other set of things that happen outside that can also create success outside of grinding, which is a lottery system that people decided that this matches this, so we're going to push it forward.
I've also just seen bands kind of wither under that circumstance where they get the lottery and you're right, they get the attention for like a whole year, and it's like, oh shit, we were not ready for that, and it sucks to see. Because I've seen it with a few bands. I mean, then you get the fun lottery of they sign to a major label, or not a major label, but like a bigger, indie label that, whoops, we haven't been paying people for 5 years. Sorry.
And then they get fucked with that. And then it's like, it's not their fault. And then they fade away just because, again, no one knew. I mean, he could tell Will from Full of Meltdown. Will would have known. Will would have known if someone was going to fuck you, because it's a label. It's a label was going to fuck you the whole time. There are great labels out there. We're Trying Records. That's my favorite. I'm not biased for that at all. Jordan, love you forever, Dad. But there's the stuff that you're singing about, the stuff that everything's happening with the band right now. Would love to put a shout out to the ARG that you made. That I'm up until the this episode comes out, I'm going to talk about it a lot, and I'm going to be mysterious and weird, exactly how it's supposed to be, because I feel like no one is. Has anyone done it? Are you able to track it to see if anyone's like gone through it?
Yes. So a few people have gotten the reward, but there's more rewards. There will never not be. Yeah,
it's so cool. You put so much time. You've put so much time in your head, your heart, and your spirit, and just your time alone to make this really cool thing. And there's like this month and a half, 2 months left to like. I want to make sure people understand the full breadth of everything that you're trying to accomplish. And so from here, I'm going to talk about this thing a lot online, probably from everywhere. I mean, as someone that has 3 Twitter accounts, I've dedicated time to Scarlet Street. But yes, listen, I want to play a song. You have a song coming out that called Warning Sounds that I would love to play. This will come out after that comes out. So I'm actually going to tell you, you don't even give a fucking say in this. Just like other labels and shit, you don't even get a say. We're going to play Warning Sounds. This is Warning Sounds by Scarlet Street.
Of my sanity breaking down. What the hell am I doing anymore? Warning sounds on the ground just to do it forevermore. We'll stop unless shore. retrace the steps to your apartment, breaking down. What the hell am I doing anymore? Warning sounds underground just to do it forevermore. We'll stop and rest short.
All right, that was Warning Sounds by Scarlet Street. Congratulations on everything, on the work that you put in, the ARG, the arts, the really cool thing that you're doing with like all of your TikTok stuff that you make, even though, yes, you're not supposed to do that, or like you're doing interesting things online. I love how glitchy everything is. I love that it feels like it's not supposed to be there. That you're breaking through from somewhere else. I love your band. I love this record. I want everything for you because I think that you stand for everything that is good. So congrats, just front to back. I know that this is a long journey, and the weird part of it is now going to begin, which is now you have to perform. Like as the character that you created in this record, and whether or not that's yourself or not, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, that's an interesting one too, because we have so much love from the old album too, and it's so different in so many ways, and like it is like we're talking about, it's so personal versus what this new one is, and we're leaning so hard into like this new sound with like how we are on stage, what we do off stage. It is kind of weird to figure out if we should be doing anything different. I think it was written so naturally that I don't really think we do, but there's always that kind of in the back of your mind of like, even just like making a set list, something as mundane as that of like, okay, well, does this song that, you know, we wrote in 2019 make sense even today next to this song, you know, that's talking about, you know, algorithms and, you know, poverty. Like it's a weird one, but I think, I don't know. I think at the basis of it is you can kind of the crowd or whoever the audience can kind of take it as, and that's the fun with anything in music, right? Is they can kind of take it how they see it. So
yeah,
you know,
and you can provide it that way too. Like you can serve it in a very specific way as well. That is the best part about a set list. The best part about attire, lights, and all that stuff. You can provide the menu, and how they eat it is up to them. And what they glean from it, the way that you build the book, the way that you design all that stuff, how they digest it is up to them. Is that a testament to vagueness in writing, so to let people draw their own conclusions, or specificity in writing where they don't get a choice into what they get to pull from a song, where they go, oh no, it's I'm looking at a character in a song, I'm not looking at myself. So having this next year to like show this thing is going to be exciting in and of itself, and so that's fucking cool.
Yeah, man. I think we wanted to make this a bit more of an event. Like last time, it was like we felt like we got across the finish line when it came out. So it was like, cool, we did it. Like it's done, and now it's kind of like, oh, we got a lot more to say this time around. I think that's the big difference. The last album felt like an exorcism. This kind of feels like diagnosing something terrible happening in the world, and that work never ends. So it's ongoing, and I kind of like that it's ongoing. It feels more tangible and more.
It's protest.
It is.
It's like protest as it's happening.
I think like 2 years ago, especially, I saw so many people talking about like, how are we kind of just going on as usual? And I kind of took that with like our music of how are we just going to keep writing songs about being awkward at parties, or, you know,
Right. Like how is that done yet? Are we done talking about that yet?
yeah, it felt so wrong to make a song about not liking yourself when there's so many other worse things that are going on. So I think we did not do this to be relatable. I hate making things that are relatable with the intention of them being relatable, because it just doesn't come off as genuine to me. And I think not only I think do people crave actual, in a world where everything's documented, everything is okay, we're doing this to post this online to show people we're doing this thing. I think like genuineosity, whatever, you know, is that's not a word, but you know.
Oh, it's close. It is a word now. It's good.
Being genuinely genuine, like,
yes,
is now, you know, scarce, and not like really, again, that sounds, I'm 12 and this is deep of everybody's fake, but like I think it's not everybody's choice. I think we've just like succumbed to this, and I think that there's egotisticalness in, there needs to be ego in music versus being ego in band. I think that is the difference. I think it's like, hey, listen, I love this. I fucking love this music versus, oh, I love my band. Like I think that, you know, the authenticity of like, no, I fucking wanted to make, you know, this is what I wanted to make. So I made it. Not, I wanted to go play Fest. So I went to try and go play Fest, and then I wanted to hit the East Coast. Like, I think you're right. And the authenticity needs to start at the music first, and then you can do that stuff with the band later, or at least it'll fall into place. Yeah, exactly. It'll fall into place, because it would be really weird for us to have written this album and then been like, okay, let's do the TikTok dance, you know, trend that accompanies this. It would be, I mean,
it's weird.
It would be very weird, and it wouldn't work. And so you just, I think you start there. I think and it goes back to, don't just do things because other people are doing things. You know, ask yourself what the goal here is. And, you know, maybe the goal is to sell as many tickets as possible, but, you know, even then, I guess at least you've still got to be authentic about what you're writing. And if you don't have good music, nothing else will come. That's really what it comes down to.
No, hell yeah. Well, listen, the record comes out in a little bit. We're going to fucking, we're all waiting for the blow up of Scarlet Street. Y'all deserve it. You're incredible. But listen, you have a wonderful rest of your day, dog. Thank you so much for fucking talking with me.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having us on. Me on.
Dog, always, forever, forever. I will end this. It'll come out next week.
Friday after next. Friday after the coming, right? Yeah.
Yes. Cool. All right. Talk to you later, big dog. Get back to work.
I know, right?
It's the same thing.
You too.
All right. See you, dog.
See ya.